Okay, so on this part, this is reflections. And what we want to do is reflect the triangle ABC clockwise 270 degrees about the origin. So the origin's right here at 0, 0. Make sure you can see that. That's where we're going to rotate it. And clockwise means we're going around the clock would go. All right? What I want to do first is trace this graph. And you can see it's a thin sheet of paper, and I can see the graph underneath. I'm going to go ahead and try to use the lines where I can. Now, of course, they're going to match up exactly because this is line paper and I'm using graph. Here's the origin. Here's point A. And you want to make sure you've got points for those. Point B. And I want to label it so I don't get confused because it will get complicated. Point C. Then I want to take my straight edge and I want to connect those points. Point A and C, B and C, A and B. And make sure that I get them as close to possible, close correct as possible. Now again, this is scrap paper, so you're doing the best you can. And I want to take one of the points, either A or C, and I want to draw a straight line to the origin where I'm rotating it. And I'm going to choose C because I like it to be horizontal if at all possible. If not, I have to rotate my paper. All right. From this point, the center point, the point of rotation, I'm going to line it with the center of my protractor. You see this little line and this hole? I'm going to line up the hole with the point of the origin and the line of my protractor with the line that I just drew. Okay. Everybody okay with that? And I'm going to go 270 degrees clockwise. Well, clockwise means it's going this way. My protractor is all above. So I've got to redo my protractor, flip it around. Again, the center goes on this point, and the line goes on my picture. And I'm going to go 270 degrees. Well, all it goes is 180, right? So all the way through is 180. But then I need to go another 90 degrees, right? So just a thought process here. So again, I'll have to flip it around and go 90 degrees going this way. So eventually, my picture is going to rotate all the way around up until 90 degrees. Okay? All the way around, the bottom and around, all the way to 90 degrees. So I want you to make sure you understand that concept. Now, because we're going 90, 180, 270, okay? From this origin to the C, if I go 90, it's going to be on this line right here. All right, if I go 180, it's going to be on this line. And if I go on 270, it's going to be on this line because your coordinate plane is made up of 90-degree angles. All right, so your y-axis is where you're going to end up on with that line that you drew. So redo my trace paper. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to give myself some room so I can rotate my paper. Again, the origin, the point that I drew, has to stay on that origin the whole time. Now again, you can rotate it around, but every time you get to 90 degrees, make sure you're there. 90 degrees. All right, flip it again. 180 degrees. You see what it's kind of looking like? Flip it again. All right, there we go. That's what it's going to look like. My A is going to be over here, my C prime is going to be over here, my B prime will be over here. Now you got to kind of figure out where that's located. If you flip your paper under, if you can see where it is, all right, that means that my A is located on the first dot over here. So at -1, 0, that is my prime. All right, if you notice my C is up 2 places. So C prime is at 0, +2. And if you notice my B prime is rotated over here the right location. I moved it just a little bit. So it's on this point right here, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4, positive 2. And then when I finish my problem, I just want to write out my locations. There's it rotated about the origin, 270 degrees. A prime is located at negative 1, 0. B prime is at negative 4, positive 2. And C prime is at 0, 2. Okay. If I was rotating the next example, X, Z, and Y, and it wants me to rotate it about the origin 180 degrees clockwise. And again, clockwise is going at this location, 180 degrees. So depending on how I set it up, depends on what we're doing here. Now, this one here, there's no straight line going from the origin to your letter. So beware of that. And there's a couple of ways you can handle this. Okay, so I want to redraw my picture. And if you have graph paper that's thin, that's actually better to use. You can see it just a little bit better of what points you want to use. I just didn't have any thin graph paper to use. Mine is quite thick. So I'm tracing my figure. And again, we're doing it about the origin, so I've got to figure out where the origin is, and it's right here. That's my origin. That's 0, 0. I smeared my points. And you want to draw a line somehow representing the origin in your rotation. Now, what I like doing on these is making a line with either the x or the y axis to your point. Okay? So I'm rotating about the origin. I'm using this line for a point of reference. Okay? That line is just my rotation. So if I rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, my figure looks like this. Okay? 90, I want to do 180. Notice that this dotted line lines up with either the x or the y axis. All right, now that I have my points in the right location, I look underneath my paper and I find out where the x point is located. And it is 2, negative 1, which is a little harder to see. So that's my x prime. And y, get back on my paper. Y is located at negative 2, positive 3. And Z is located at negative 3, negative 5. Okay, so you go ahead, take your straight edge, connect your points, and it's easier if you do pencil and a different color. And if you wanted to use pen, I would allow you to do that on these, one or not on both. And your new points, of course, I want you to label those and tell me what they are in your paper. Sometimes it's just a little helpful to see that. Okay, and that is it. That's how you do it by hand.